The creation of an endless swarm, Tyranid Tactica.
The dreaded hormagaunt, whatever you want to call it. They are dreaded if used properly. A lot of people don't actually like hormagaunts now that 5th edition is out because they're just not worth their points value. And to tell you the truth, they're right. They are overpriced for what they can do. But as you'll find with how I play Warhammer, is I don't try to build the ultimate army list. I don't find that to be very fun. If you want to build the ultimate army list, you do a Midzilla army. That usually works the best. But you'll find that you'll have the least amount of fun. Unless you're one of those 12-year-olds who only has fun if he wins. And not only if he wins, but if he massacres. If you are one of those 12-year-olds, you need to change and have fun playing the game, not just winning the game. And part of the fun with the Tyranid is getting to your opponent so fast that they're like, how the heck did you do that? I didn't know that you could move that far. You must have been cheating. And then you open up your codex and you show them and they're like, oh, okay, so I'm screwed now. They're especially useful against an army that despises close combat, such as the Tau. And not so useful against things like the Orcs. They are semi-useful against armies like the Space Marines because you can tie them up from shooting. Basically, any shooty army that you're up against, hormagaunts will be your best friend because they can stop them from shooting, allowing the rest of your guys to get there. So hormagaunts are extremely fast. They are classified as beasts, which means that they have fleet and they can also charge 12 inches, which is their greatest ability. However, naked, in other words, with no upgrades, they're not that strong. But if all you're using them for is to slow down the enemy from firing at you while the rest of your guys get there, you don't need to upgrade them at all. If you're up against an army like the Tau, you don't really need to upgrade them at all either, because they'll be sufficiently strong to rip apart their groups. But if you're up against Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines, or against a semi-decent assaulting army, ones that have a good strength or a good toughness that'll be a little tough to take out in close combat, then it's usually good to give them a few upgrades. If you're up against Space Marines or Chaos, then what you want to do is you want to upgrade their initiative, and you want to upgrade their strength. And if you really want to, you can upgrade their weapon skill as well. By doing this, their initiative and weapon skill will be superior to that of the Space Marines or the Chaos, allowing them to hit them easier and hit them first. And then having a higher strength will allow them to hurt them more. If you're up against Nurgle, Plague Marines, this is especially important because if you don't upgrade their strength, then you will barely ever be able to touch any of the Nurgle, and they'll just wipe them out in 1 or 2 rounds, not getting you nearly as much time as you need to cover the rest of your troops. And one other really useful upgrade that you can give them is flesh hooks. And the flesh hooks, as you probably already know, will give you that extra edge in close combat, especially if the opponent is trenched in, if they're in behind a bunker or behind trenches or behind a wall, and you need to get to them, but you don't want to give them that advantage of running through cover, then definitely give them flesh hooks. But you see, all these upgrades can make them rather expensive. So I usually only bring 1 group, or I'll bring 2 small groups, so they can jump at 2 separate areas and tie them up. And even if they can only tie them up for 1 or 2 rounds, that's usually enough to make their points worthwhile, so they don't take all these other losses as everybody else shoots. That's really all there is to the hormagaunts. They're very basic. There's not many upgrades you can give them. They don't have any guns, and they're purely for quick assaulting. If you don't use them for quick assaulting, then why even bother bringing them in? You might as well just bring in termagants. If you're looking for a shooty army, keep these guys out and just bring in lots of termagants, because you'll find that you'll have a lot better shooting capabilities with that. So that's it for the hormagaunts. Hope you enjoyed it, and may many, many hormagaunts come and eat your armies for the greater good. Right, Tau?